Welcome to Manly Lifestyles Podcast. I'm your host, Kevin Manley, and this podcast has been created with you in mind. God spoke to me going into 2025 that He wants to restore the voice of men in this hour. That means that both you and I have to rediscover that voice and begin to employ that in every area that we find ourselves. So please like and subscribe to the channel. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, as well as Podcastle, and Instagram and YouTube. If you're searching on YouTube, you'll search at Manly Lifestyles. No space. That's Manley. And you'll find all the content that I've posted over the years that I believe can really enhance your manhood and anyone else that you know as well. So let's go ahead and jump right into this. What we'll be talking about today are 5 things that you can do starting a new job. Okay, now if you're starting a new job, you can employ these, or if you know a young guy, maybe this is his first instance of starting a job, this would be a great information that you can provide to that young man that will enhance him. So first thing we'll jump into here is creating a great first impression. How do you do that? Well, there are specific things you can do in order to achieve that goal. One thing is you can dress well. Be at your best. That means shining your shoes. That means ironing your shirt. I recommend having the shirt stays as well. Get the actual metal ones. Those they form better and they last longer as well. You can also make sure that you understand their dress code and fit within that. If you have a tie or if you have a pocket square, make sure it's sharp. Make sure your whole presentation is sharp because it speaks to not only you, but what they can expect from you going into that new role. So dress sharply, especially on your first day. You don't get a second chance of making a first impression, as people say. So take advantage of that and dress well. Be sharp. Absolutely important there. Next thing is smile. Okay? Very important, because when you're smiling, it really can open up conversations. It can open up people as you're engaging with them. You can almost light up the room, if you will, when you're smiling. It's just a great thing to do as you're meeting new people, as you're entering to an organization. It just indicates you have a great attitude. That's what people want. You don't want to be the person that feels entitled on their first day or in their job. They feel entitled. They seem entitled. That puts people off. You don't want to do that. Make sure you're smiling. You're saying, hey, I'm glad to be here. I'm thankful for the opportunity to be here, and I'm looking forward to doing some great things at this company. So make sure you are smiling. Next thing here, is to give a firm handshake. Very important as you're going into a new role, make sure you're giving firm handshakes. It shows that you are respectable. It shows you're not going to be someone who's just simply going to be walked over in your new role. Right? So very important to do. Now, guys, if you're shaking the hand of a young lady or a woman there at the firm, let's make sure we're not giving her the Hulk. Okay, let's make sure we're not giving her the Goldberg handshake. So let's just make sure we're mindful of that. And again, just a nice firm handshake. It just really makes sure that people understand that this guy is respectable here. And the other thing here is arriving early. So if the meeting is at 8 and you're there at 8, you're considered late. Okay, if you're there 7:45, 7:30, that's when you're on time, because you can prepare yourself, you can be ready to go. And that speaks something to your employer, to your boss. They know that this guy's going to be prepared. He's just not going to show up for the sake of showing up, but he's going to show up for the purpose of giving input, of adding value to whatever's going on. The meeting, the conversation, the job itself. Make sure you present yourself well when you're doing that great first impression. Next thing here are defining your goals. So it's one thing for the business to define your goals, and you'll always have that. They're always going to have specifics and criteria that they'd like for you to reach throughout the course of your time in that specific role. But go one step beyond that. Have your own goals established, both for your career and for that job specifically. Now, for young guys, you may not have your whole career figured out. That is absolutely fine. I did not have my whole career figured out. God had a career figured out for me, and I found that out as I went down the path. And I believe you will have the same situation as well, that as you go down the path, God will begin to direct your steps. But it's important to make sure that you are defining goals yourself as well. What that does is it shows to your employer and to your boss that you are proactive. You are taking steps without having to be told to do something. That is a quality and a skill set that many employers are looking for. So don't be like everyone else and just simply wait for them to give you and tell you things. Make sure that you understand and are clear on the criteria that they want for their specific role, but also go above and beyond that. What do you want to accomplish in that role? How do you see your skill set fitting with the skill set that they are wanting to have in that particular role? And when you have the opportunity to have a conversation with your boss, those are things that you can relay and share, which again is an indication to that person that you are taking steps, you're taking proactive steps as you enter into that role, and that comes off very, very well. So I encourage you to do that. Next thing here is know something about the company. So I think it's about being comprehensive. And what I mean by that is being able to look at the whole picture, not just things that seem apparent, but you're looking at the full picture to understand the entirety of the organization. What I say is I think that makes a person extremely effective when you understand the culture, you understand the history, you understand the where and the why, the how, you understand all of that. When you get that, you become a very valuable person at an organization. Obviously, you're not going to have this the first day, but if you set this as a priority going in, you can be very effective. Now, prior to coming in the role, I recommend going to their website, looking through the history. So when was the company founded? You should know that. Who's on the executive team? Who's the CEO? Know the CEO's name, especially if you're going to a large organization. And when you can come in on the first day and know who the CEO is, maybe you know some of the people who are on the executive team and what their roles are, that's a nice plus as well. It's not saying, you're not trying to show off in that respect. You're simply saying that I've not come in here just to fulfill a role. I've come in here with a purpose, and I understand how I fit in with a larger picture. Again, that speaks well to someone who has simply just hired you, because they're saying this guy, he sees himself within the organization. We want to, if he's going to buy into us, we're going to buy into him. So know the company, know the history, know who's on the executive teams, maybe how many lines of businesses there are. Lines of business within the company. There's other things you can find out on the company. Maybe if you have time, you can go through their recent offering, investor presentation that they put out, or what's the stock price. I know when I was back in a prior bank, that was something that it was encouraged to know. So the CEO, if they were going to ask you a question in the elevator, it was probably going to be, what's the stock price today? And if that's something that you know, again, it speaks well. It says that you're looking beyond your specific role and you are looking at the company as a whole. Very valuable. So just something to be aware of. Again, you don't have to know the whole book on everything, but if you know 2, 3, 4 pieces of information, that shows that you are valuable. That shows you've taken the initiative and you're being proactive to understand more than just your more than just your role. Very valuable. So make sure you're doing that. Come prepared. When you're coming prepared, you are demonstrating to the person that you're working for, and really throughout the whole organization, you're demonstrating the quality and the characteristics that they can expect from you going into that role. So when you're coming prepared, you're bringing your notepad with pen. I do that. I'm a written person. I need to have things written. But what it says is you're not just someone that's just going to allow information to go through one ear and out the other. You're someone that wants to retain the information and then can begin to make it into something that's active. What I mean by that, what I mean is, let's say you're in the initial parts of the onboarding or something of that nature, and you're learning all new information. You're brand new to this industry. You're new to the job, and you're just trying to figure out how things work. When you're putting things on pen and paper, or you're putting them on paper, you are putting yourself where you can then, I like to call it almost regurgitating. You're going back through, you're rehearsing it. And what can happen from there is that you begin to have actual questions based on the information that you just received. Now, I can tell you that I'd say probably 95% of the people, of your peers, of your competition, or whoever, however you want to determine that, is not doing that. What they are simply doing is they are sitting there and they are allowing the information to come to them, and they are not doing anything with it. So they sit there and they go, and at the end they go, all right, any questions? And they go, don't be that person, okay? Don't be that person. Be the person that took the notes, and then at the very end, when they're asking questions, you say, okay, so-and-so, you said XYZ at the first portion of what you said, and I understand that makes sense, and I see this as well. So can you speak a little further to how this part plays a role in how we do X? And they say, I'm so glad you asked that question. That's a great and fantastic question. And they go and they elaborate. Just doing that, I can tell you, that sets you apart, because 95% of people are not doing that. You know what they're doing? They are there simply to get paid, a paycheck. Don't be that person. Be proactive. Take notes. Like I said, come prepared. Come ready to go. As they say, hit the ground running so you can be effective. Next thing here is dress for the job that you want. This is number 5. Dress for the job that you want. I will tell you, do not care what I'll start over. Do not care about what the people around you say, think, or feel. Let me say it again. Do not care about what the people around you say, think, or feel. You are there to do a job, to fulfill a role. You're also there as you are pursuing your own career. So dress for the job that you want. What is the CEO wearing? If that's what they're wearing, why aren't you wearing it? I challenge you. Don't be that person that simply comes in and blends in. Be the person that comes in and sticks out and says, I want to go forward. I'm looking 10, 15 years down the road, or down the road. I'm setting myself apart. Most people do not want to do that. So if you're wanting to be the person that sets themselves apart, you have to put yourself in a position where you can do that. Case in point, I'll say you this, and I discovered this early on in my career. I was at a meeting at one of the firms I went to, and the CEO of that organization set up a meeting, and she had all of her executive team come to that meeting. And they all came. They flew in with her, and we were all there. We heard about the meeting. We said, okay, we're going to go. So all the people in my group came. Now, what do you think happened? How many people do you think were in that first 3 rows? 0. What did I do? I sat right in that front row, the front of the front row. So that one right in front of the CEO, I was right there. And I did not care about what anyone else around me thought or imagined. I did not care. And I set myself in that position. And you know what I did? I knew that her intent was to get or convey a certain message to her people within her organization. That was one of the goals that she wanted to accomplish within that meeting. I discerned that. I picked up on that. So I asked a question when I had the opportunity based on something she had said, which gave her the opportunity and a platform to convey the message that she wanted to. I remember she came over to me after the meeting and said, thank you. I'm so glad that you asked that question, because I understood her goal. But you know what that did? That set me apart in her eyes, not just for the purpose of wanting to be seen by the CEO, but it set me apart in her eyes because she understood the type of person that I was. I was not going to care what other people around me were saying, thinking, or imagining. I dressed for the job that I want, and I pursued the position that was going to put me in a place where I was seen differently. I encourage you to do the same thing. That's from day one. If there's an orientation meeting, you are in the front row. You're ready to go, because that's saying that you're not just simply going to allow information to come to you. You are being proactive and you are engaging with what's happening there. So be that type of person. You will find that it will take you very far in your specific role that you're going into, but also it will take you far in your overall career. So those are the 5 things. Hopefully you got some good nuggets out of this. If you're starting a job or you're starting a new job as your first in your career, employ these things and continue to do them throughout the course of your career in everything that you find yourself in, and you will find great success. I'll be sharing the next thing here on the next video, so I look forward to talking to you soon.